So let me ask, do you believe in New Year's resolutions?
I think if it works for you, sure. I think whatever feels good to you should be done. Like it really isn't. I don't think there are too many things that are universal that are going to work for everybody, from skincare to New Year's resolutions. Like, find what works for you, and that's really the only thing that matters. What I don't love is pressure, either societal or personally imposed pressure, or family imposed pressure, or socially imposed pressure. I don't like that. I don't think it's very lasting. Um, I also wonder, like, and maybe this would be good research for me to have done. Where did these things begin? Like, where did New Year's resolutions begin, and how did they get to a thing where, like, the only ads you see on Instagram in January are for, like, non-diet diets? Like, I know what you're
Mhm.
doing. I see through the acai bowl. Don't give me this. Don't give me this. I know what you're doing. But I think they can also be really lovely. I think personal refreshes and restarts can be wonderful. Personal inventory can be wonderful. And January 1st is just one arbitrary day, really. Like, your personal restart can happen any day of the year that you want. I just like January 1st because everybody else is doing it and I'm a joiner. So it just feels really nice. They don't have to be like life changing. And I don't think that any of those life changing resolutions really, you know, last. But I find the ones that are manageable and delightful, that can be easily folded into the batter of your life, I think those are lovely.
Did you make any actually this year?
I have a few things that I would really like to fold back into the batter of my life that got lost somewhere along the Panda Express, that, we miss certain things that we used to do. I miss reading. I miss reading a book. There are 4 half-read books in my line of sight right now, and it's bothering me that my attention span, my ability to sit still has just been drained, and I can't focus on a page, to the tune of, like, me starting to watch more and more documentaries because I need to work on my brain and challenge my brain. I can sometimes focus on a documentary because I feel like it's faster. Is that cheating? I don't know. But I'm learning something. I'm expanding my brain, but I don't have to fight with a page in a book. And I found myself, like, fighting to turn the page, and I was just so disinterested. So I'm hoping to get back into reading. Um, I would like to
I've
work
been
more.
I've been doing
I was gonna
audiobooks,
say audio.
which yeah, but I do feel bad even about that because I actually do I'm trying to finish, like you said, I have a bunch of half-read books, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to finish the whole thing, um, in a physical page because I used to love reading. I don't know about you, I'm sure you guys also I used to read, like, a book a day back in the day. Now I, like, can't get through one in, like, 2, 3 months. I'm like, "Oh my god, it's still going." Uh, yeah, it
Why is it
is.
hard? Why is it hard to read a book? This shouldn't be hard. I can crack it. If I give some time to it, I think I can crack this code of why I'm no longer
I
a
think it's the
reader.
screens. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's the screens.
You hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think
gotta
there's
be
like a
that.
guilt to like feel like we need to be doing something. And when you're reading, you are just doing that one thing.
It's
I know that's
true,
how I
because
feel.
like, now when you're on social media, you can just, like, hop through
Mhm.
5 different things, and again, that whole ADD culture, and now when you have to sit and read a book, I feel like I've fallen asleep within 10 minutes.
That's exactly it.
It's my, like, night yeah, it's like my little nighttime medicine. Um, yeah, you know what you said? So I did do some research. There wasn't that I found, like, a specific thing of why resolutions specifically started, but, there was one interesting, tidbit that I took out, which is that psychologists have found rather than seeing our life as a continuum, we tend to craft a narrative, which is divided into separate chapters that mark the different stages of our life. So, a psychologist, Katie Milkman, a psychology professor at Wharton School, said that people tend to think about life as if they're characters in a book. Um, and so that kind of, because it is kind of this like, we have this mental, oh, the chapter of 2022 is over and 2023 is starting again. And so maybe as we're turning the page, we think, how do I want to read this chapter or approach this next chapter? Because we are very like linear in that sense. You know, we don't know how to. I always I think New Year's resolutions are a good idea. Um, again, like you said, if they work for you. Over the years, mine have sort of transformed into different ways. Like now, I'm much more into vision boards and not necessarily into like a specific resolution, but rather sometimes I choose a word now. So I choose a word that I kind of want to encompass the year with. And Luis and I, my partner, we did uh, a couple's word, and then we did like an individual thing. So like I had a separate vision board, and then we didn't do a couple's vision board, but we just kind of like talked about what's something we want to do together. And our couple one was discipline, and my individual one was win, and that's it. And that was only kind of because of a narrative I've created in my head. So I think like I mean, Aisha, how do you sort of approach New Year's resolutions?
It's so funny that you said that the psychologists talk about how people say it's like a book, 'cause that's literally what I describe myself too. I'm like, "Oop, caught." Um, but I
You
definitely
consider it like a book, like your life,
chapters,
like
like,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
talk about that all the time. I'm like, "All right, next chapter. This is 30s, this is mid-20s, whatever, blah, blah, next chapter." So it's just kinda funny that it's like, yeah, that's how people think. I'm part of the
Yeah.
people who think. But I think definitely for this year, I also had sort of like stopped doing resolutions for a while, mostly because I felt guilty for not completing them. The pressure of completing these resolutions just got too much, so I stopped doing it. But I did sort of this year, as I was kind of talking about earlier, um, sort of set out to myself just like an overall goal, which I think is just another way to say resolution, but it sounds better. A goal for the year, again, is just to, get back on track, refocus, um, win. you know.
Shani, for you, like, why do you think it's hard for us to like sort of keep these resolutions? Like you said, that we feel this pressure, but why are we sort of even feeling this pressure? Do you think we're just making too big or like resolutions that are too big to manage, or is it something that
I think we're forgetting that life is going to life. Like life is not going to be wildly different in 2023 than it was in 2022. Maybe for some, but for most of us, like life is not this perpetual string of highs and lows. Life is mostly the middles. And so enjoying the middles is an art form. And I hope for anyone listening that you can appreciate your middles and have gratitude for them and learn to ride with them, because that's the good stuff. It's not just about the highs and the lows. It's about the day to day and liking your day to day and living it authentically. And I think that really loving your life flows from that. But yeah, we if you're thinking that everything is going to change and suddenly be like kittens and rainbows, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's probably just going to be like, I mean, there might be kittens, but normal weather. You know what I mean? The expectations are a bit off for me, but I think we're getting better at that. And I think sort of the farce of social media is helping with that. I think we're seeing through a lot of nonsense that we used to maybe feel pressured by. Um, for every for every post on social media that's like, I'm making these resolutions and doing X, Y, and Z, there's someone else saying, you don't have to, it's okay. And really the answer will always be like whatever feels good to you. It's not about what we see really in the outside world that can contribute to how we feel, but figuring out how you feel on your own without influence from anybody is probably the best approach to starting a new year.
I found that the hardest part about a resolution was like you make a resolution, but then if you don't have a plan to back it up, then you don't complete it. And then you are basically making like a negative correlation or negative reinforcement. Kind of you're teaching yourself that it fails, and so you're not liking the idea of a resolution. Where sometimes I feel like if we make, like I have friends and they don't like working out, but then they'll say, "I want to have a Shakira body by this year." And I'm like, "That's totally doable. I'm sure it's doable if you're Kim Kardashian and you can afford, a trainer that's going to work with you twice a day for 3 hours a day, whatever." But the likelihood is, if you don't like working out and you want that, um, and then you are not doing anything, like not making a plan to do it, then you're gonna feel like, "Oh, well, this is a stupid thing I just did. I don't even wanna do it." Versus going, maybe, I'm gonna cut down eating out once a week. something like a little bit more manageable that leads to sort of that big goal. Because I think, yeah, that's sort of been my thing is like now I try to do very small, achievable things because then I love checking it off and going like, "Ha, I actually did this." But I love what you said of living in the middle. I love that. We're definitely going to make that the quote for this episode.
Yeah, it
Um,
was dope.
right? I hope you guys enjoyed that video and check out our next one. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to this channel for more amazing dating, love, and relationship advice from me and so many expert guests. Follow us on socials. We're at Kinda Dating across the board. I'm Natasha Chandel, so you can find me too if you like. And join our newsletter on www.kindadating.com for lots of exclusives. See you soon.